Hey folks, this is Carl Gallups, host of Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, heard every Friday evening from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on 1330 WEBY AM and 99.1 FM, News Talk Radio, Pensacola, Florida, Gulf Coast Talk Radio. We stream live over the internet as well and over TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone, plus we podcast. You can get all those links underneath this video. Let me move on. I've proven, and you will soon see, that Judge Brett Kavanaugh has been a victim of bullying. Now, this segment, this special segment of Freedom Friday, this is not a joke, and I'm not playing with words. I want you to listen to all of this, because this comes from the left's own words and their own definitions. So, in light of the facts thus far, there's not one shred of credible forensic evidence or eyewitness testimony that lends itself to any kind of proof that Judge Brett Kavanaugh actually committed an assault upon Christine Blasey-Ford almost 40 years ago. None. Now, this fact, thus far, is evidenced by the statement of the former prosecutor and sex crimes expert, Miss Rachel Mitchell, who questioned both Blasey-Ford and Judge Kavanaugh before the Senate hearings. You saw that, probably. Miss Mitchell was quoted in the Washington Post and USA Today, both very liberal sources, as saying that she, quote, would not prosecute Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh based upon the evidence she heard, end quote. You see, in effect, this means that Ms. Mitchell, at the end of the day, flatly did not believe Blasey-Ford. Or she either believed that Blasey-Ford simply failed to bring forward credible evidence that could back her very serious claims against Judge Kavanaugh. You see, both scenarios are equally devastating to the leftist agenda and talking point. This means that Ms. Mitchell, as a prosecutor, would not be willing to even bring this case to a trial if the matter was within her legal purview. You see, that's a powerful admission of what the rest of us who can actually perform intelligent deductive reasoning, what we knew by the time the testimonies were finished on that inglorious day. You see, the left argues, but she seemed so credible. She displayed so much pain and suffering. Let's get a couple matters straight. Displaying pain and suffering does not necessarily equal credibility, especially when allegations of this nature are being leveled before the U.S. Senate and before the eyes of the world. You see, if that were so, then Judge Kavanaugh won the day, hands down. Did you see the hearings? Blasey-Ford couldn't even muster a tear, even when it was visibly obvious that she was trying to do so. No, you see, I wasn't listening or watching for Judge Kavanaugh's level of emotion, or Blasey-Ford's. Rather, I was, as was the prosecutor interviewer, Ms. Mitchell, I was listening to the actual evidence, the provable facts, or lack thereof, the witnesses, or lack thereof, the forensic elements, yes, you guessed it, or lack thereof, memory ability, records, calendars, character references, the ability to clearly articulate one's case from several angles of questioning. And I was weighing the man who had already been the subject of 6 FBI investigations at the time of the hearing, conducted upon his life going back to high school. I was weighing all that against the woman who has thus far had no scrutiny, even close to that, leveled upon her life and her family. Those are the things that actually matter in getting to truth. Not if a grown woman can successfully pull off a voice change, or the timed batting of her cute little eyes, or twisting in her chair and swishing her hair back and forth in order to appear as though she was an innocent high school teenager. I also noticed that Ford could act hurt and distraught while she was testifying, but yet she was wide-eyed, actually playful, and broad-smiling the instant the ordeal was over. The cameras were still rolling. We all saw it. But was that Judge Kavanaugh's reaction as he and his family left the proceedings? No. Again, if pain and suffering, or the way someone acts is the standard, Brett Kavanaugh wins the day. Now, how many times have you heard, bullying is serious? Well, the following information comes from the renowned anti-bullying Tyler Clementi Foundation. And you can read that entire page for yourself. I'll put the link at the bottom of this video. And you'll discover that I use selected portions in what I'm getting ready to tell you, but they're in context. You can see it for yourself. Not hiding anything, not pulling any tricks. These statements were in context, and they were in line with the unfounded accusations made against Judge Kavanaugh. Here are 3 or 4 paragraphs from that anti-bullying site. Quote, bullying is defined as any unwanted or harmful verbal, psychological act committed by an individual or group, as well as any real or perceived threat or imbalance of power. All right, that sets it up. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the article says, bullying includes humiliation, spreading rumors or lies. Okay. In order to be considered bullying, the behavior must be aggressive, and it must include an imbalance of power. Bullies use their power, such as access to embarrassing information, to control or harm others. Power imbalances can change over time and in different situations, even if they involve the same people. I mean, so far we're describing the Senate hearings and Judge Kavanaugh, the attack upon him. It goes on, though. Bullying includes actions such as spreading rumors or attacking someone verbally. Social bullying, sometimes referred to as relational bullying, involves hurting someone's reputation or relationships. Social bullying also includes spreading rumors about someone, embarrassing someone in public on purpose. And then it says, why does bullying matter? Bullying is a serious issue, the article says, and it's a matter of public health and safety, and it creates a climate of fear. Adults harmed by bullying often suffer from a wide range of problems. Well, there you have it. Judge Kavanaugh, who has now been the subject of 7 FBI investigations throughout his career, all bringing back extremely favorable results thus far regarding a wide range of measurable elements, he has been publicly humiliated, falsely accused of a serious crime. He has been bullied. His reputation has been sullied. His career may have been ruined. His family has been devastated and embarrassed. His friends have been made further objects of even more bullying. All of this accomplished through false statements, false testimony, false allegation, backed up by a schoolyard full of accomplices. You know, bullying, that unspeakable, despicable social crime that the left continually harangues the rest of us about. The offending schoolyard group was the Senate, fueled by the hysteria of the leftist Democrats and the Me Too movement. The offending individual was Blasey-Ford, who, by the way, could not even manage to convince a sympathetic female and former prosecutor of sex crimes and an advocate for sex crime victims that she was telling the truth. By every definition of bullying, at the end of the day, Judge Kavanaugh was the victim here, not Blasey-Ford. Admittedly, it could have gone the other way. Bullying certainly includes unwanted sexual advances, as well as out-and-out molestation and rape, of course. But apparently, none of that happened in this case. Ever, according to the evidence thus far. But getting back to the evidence, discovering the truth and facts and or circumstances of actual relationships, you see, that was not the real purpose on that day. Not even by a long shot. You'd have to be as blind as a baby rabbit to not see what the whole thing was really about. I'll lay out the details of that matter and probably in another video that's going to come soon. But for now, suffice it to say, this horrific act of group bullying against Judge Kavanaugh, which the whole nation was pretty much forced to endure, was not actually conducted for the purpose of defending the honor of a grandmother-age woman who chose to give her testimony before the U.S. Senate in a coached and calculated, faked, whiny little girl teenage voice. No, it was about stopping Donald Trump at all costs from completing his agenda of having an actual and real Supreme Court in America again, even if it meant destroying another human being, Judge Kavanaugh and his family, before the eyes of everyone on the playground. I mean the world. Shame on the left, shame on the Senate, shame on Blasey-Ford, shame on America. We will look horrifically stupid and measurably weak in the eyes of the world if we don't appoint Judge Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court within days. And never doubt, the Kavanaugh hearing is what Washington and your America and life is getting ready to look like if the leftist social democrats take power in November, or heaven forbid, in 2020. You see, elections really do matter. Lord God, please help us.
For thousands of years, mankind has debated how creation began. Ancient texts tell us the story. But today, the real message behind the pivotal account of the Garden of Eden has been obfuscated and lost. That is, until now. World-renowned author Carl Gallups digs up the hidden truths from the book of Genesis to finally give back the knowledge that was lost to the world. Find out what really happened in the Garden of Eden, what Jesus taught about Eden on the cross, and how the conflict between Jesus and the gods of antiquity is about to erupt on planet Earth, fulfilling biblical prophecy. In the new book, Gods of Ground Zero, this explains everything.